අද්විතීය 200 Mbps ස්පීඩ් එකකින් ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ වේගවත්ම සහ පුළුල්තම හෝම් බ්‍රෝඩ්බෑන්ඩ් සම්බන්ධතාවය වන SLT මොබිටෙල් දේශීය ෆයිබර් බලවේගය ඔබත් අදම අත්විඳින්න.
හරිම සුදුයි.
Tonight on First at 9, this Sunday the 2nd of April 2023. Connectivity. Japan and India willing to work with Sri Lanka to boost Indo-Pacific connectivity. Conspiracy. Government spreads misinformation about country's only hope, the Samagi Janabalavegya, claims party leader Sajid Premadasa. Disinflation path. Headline inflation falls to 50.3% in March. CBSL anticipates inflation to decline throughout 2023.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9 with Andrew Bernard. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Alliance Finance මෙතුරු රන්නයි සේවාවෙන් රන් පවුම්කට රුපියල් 1,70,000ක ඉහළ අධිකාරමක්.
ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දිනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබාගත හැක.
A very good evening and welcome to AdaDerana 24's English News. In your top story for tonight, Japan and India have expressed their willingness to jointly cooperate with Sri Lanka to bolster the regional connectivity in the Indo-Pacific. Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka Gopal Bagle said that there is a great opportunity for India, Japan and Sri Lanka to work with the prosperity of all people, given that Sri Lanka is an important member of the Indian Ocean Rim Association. The Press Trust of India reported on Friday that India and Japan have agreed to work with Sri Lanka in order to boost regional connectivity in the Indo-Pacific. The PTI stated that the Indian High Commissioner Gopal Bagle said that India and Japan share wide-ranging interests in a peaceful, progressive and prosperous Indo-Pacific region. The report quoted Bagle saying that Sri Lanka is an important member of the Indian Ocean Rim Association countries and that there is a great deal of opportunity for India, Japan and Sri Lanka to work together for the prosperity of people here and the benefits of all sides. The Indian High Commissioner said that this should, however, be in accordance with the priorities of Sri Lanka. Bagle was quoted saying that Sri Lanka is at the happy confluence of three important pillars of India's foreign policy. Japanese Ambassador Hideaki said that during Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida's recent visit to India, the two countries exchanged views on cooperation with Sri Lanka and agreed to work closely. Ambassador Hideaki said that he believes that connectivity is the best area to showcase how two countries can bring tangible benefits to the entire region, including Sri Lanka. He went on to say that to this end, perspectives and insights from countries in the region are critical, and this report precisely addresses that. Now, Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna parliamentarian Gamini Lokuge says that the party plans to hold discussions with the Prime Minister and the President to reinstate the CPC and CPSTL trade unionists affiliated to the SLPP who were sent on a compulsory leave. On the 29th of March, the management of the CPC and the CPSTL took steps to send 20 trade union leaders on compulsory leave after they disrupted the fuel distribution services, despite it being mandated as essential services by the government. Trade unions of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation and the Ceylon Petroleum Storage Terminals Limited last week launched a strike against the government's decision to restructure the organizations and the decision to issue licenses to foreign parties to distribute fuel. The trade unions carried out a satyagraha which was followed by strike action the next day, disregarding the government's issued gazette that declared both institutions as essential services. Given this backdrop, the management of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation and the Ceylon Petroleum Storage Terminals Limited took steps to send 20 trade union members, including its leaders, on mandatory leave on the 29th of March. They were also prohibited from entering both premises. Following this, the trade union leaders met with Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena yesterday at the Temple Trees. MP Gamini Lokuge took part in this discussion as well.
සංස්ථාවේ 18 දෙනෙක් අනිවාර්ය විශ්‍රාම කරලා තිනවා. ඒ අයගෙන් කොටසක් ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොදු ජන පෙරමුණේ, කොටසක් එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂේ, කොටසක් ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂ විවිධයි. නමුත් ඒ වැඩවර්ජනය සම්බන්ධව අපේ සම්බන්ධයකුත් අපේ අනුමැතියකුත් තිබුණා කරපු එකක් නෙමෙයි. නමුත් අපේ සමාජිකව හැටියට එයාගේ සේවය අනිවාර්ය නිවාඩු වීම පිළිබඳව අපි පක්ෂයක් හැටියට අපේ වෘත්ති අයිතිවාසිකම් වෙනුවෙන් සාකච්ඡා කරනවා. ඒ හින්දා අද අගමැතිතුමත් සමග ඒ පිළිබඳව සාකච්ඡා කළා. මේක සමතයකටපත් කළේ එයාගේ සේවය පිහිටවන අවශ්‍ය කටයුතු කරන තමයි අපේ සාකච්ඡාව.
සාකච්ඡාවෙන් පසු දැන් තීරණය ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ නැතුව මේ ප්‍රස්තාව දිගට සාකච්ඡාව යන්න ඕනද?
අපි මේ සාකච්ඡාවෙන් පස්සේ ජනාධිපතිතුමත් එක්කත් සාකච්ඡා කරලා මේක බේරුම් කරා ගන්නයි කල්පනා කරන්නේ.
Now, President Ranil Wickremesinghe met with the Director General of the Indian Institute of Good Governance, Bharat Lal, at the President's official residence in Colombo yesterday. Bharat Lal is visiting Sri Lanka to discuss the potential ways to enhance the country's civil service and improve government institution performance by implementing effective monitoring measures. During the meeting, he shared India's success in incorporating information technology into public service delivery, which resulted in significant progress and cost saving. During this, President Ranil Wickremesinghe made a request to the Director General for his assistance in establishing a University of Governance and Public Policy in Sri Lanka. Now, the National New Paddy Harvest Festival, known as the Alutsahal Mangalya, was held at the historic Sri Jaya Mahabodhiya in Anuradhapura this morning under the patronage of President Ranil Wickremesinghe. This festival is a long-standing tradition where the first harvested paddy of the Maha season is offered to the Jai Sri Mahabodhiya. The event was organized for the 56th time by the Ministry of Agriculture and Department of Agrarian Services under the guidance of the chief incumbent of the Atamasthana, Veneral Pallegama Hemaratana Thera. Many farmers from different parts of the country attended the traditional ceremony with the hopes of receiving blessings from nature and the triple gem. After the traditional ceremony, the President paid his respects to the sacred Sri Jaya Mahabodhiya and received blessings. The procession followed the ancient traditions and began near the Anuradhapura Lion Pillar before entering the Sri Mahabodhiya premises through the Vali Moolava. The leader of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya, Sajid Premadasa, alleges that the government is spreading rumours about his party members. Premadasa claims that it is inaccurate to say that many MPs of his party are trying to join the government because in reality it is the government that is engaged in an auction of parliamentarians.
අද වෙන විට අමුතුම දේශපාලන කුමන්ත්‍රණයක් රටේ ක්‍රියාත්මක. වර්තමාන රජයේ ප්‍රධානී සමාජ මාධ්‍යවලට එක එක ප්‍රවෘත්ති නිර්මාණය කරලා සමාජ මාධ්‍යවල දාලා පිටම බොරු කියලා ඒක සත්‍යයක් බවට මේ රටේ ලක්ෂ 220කගේ මනසේ ස්ථාපනය කරන්නට මොකද්ද දැන් මේ ආණ්ඩුව කරගෙන යන මහා දේශපාලන කුමන්ත්‍රණ. දැන් බොරු කතාවක් ගොතලා තියෙනවා. සමගි ජන බලවේගයේ මන්ත්‍රීවරු විශාල ප්‍රමාණයක් රජයට එකතු වෙනවා. නමුත් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ඇත්ත තත්ත්වය මොකක්ද? අද චන්දිම වීරක්කුඩිල ජයත් හේරත්ලා තවත් පොහොට්ටුවේ විශාල කණ්ඩායම් ඒ පැත්තෙන් මේ පැත්තට ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. තව ඉන්නවා පොඩිමේන්න. තව ඉන්නවා විශාල ප්‍රමාණයක් විපක්ෂයේ. හැබැයි රජය බොරුවක් හදලා මේ රටට තිබෙන එකම විසඳුම, එකම විකල්පය, එකම උත්තරය සමගි ජන බලවේගය විනාශ කරන්නට අමු පට්ටපල් බොරුව ගොතනවා වගේම එක එක තරංකාරයෝ ලව්වලා උත්සාහයක් දරනවා මුදලට මන්ත්‍රීවරු බිලීබා අපිට දැනගන්නට ලැබිලා තිබෙනවා අද ආණ්ඩුවේ තක්සේරුව මන්ත්‍රීවරයෙකුට ලක්ෂ 2000 මිලියන 200යි. දැන් ආණ්ඩුව හිතනවා මේ මිලියන 200 පෙන්නුවා අපේ මන්ත්‍රීවරු කෙල පෙරාගෙන ඉහිර ආණ්ඩුවට එකතු වෙයි. මම එකක් කියන්නම්. සමගි ජන බලවේගයේ මන්ත්‍රීවරු කිසිම අවස්ථාවක සූදානම් නැහැ මේ ආණ්ඩුවේ මන්ත්‍රීවරු පිළිබා ගැනීමේ වෙන්දේසියට සහභාගී වෙන්න.
The leader of the Jatika Jana Balawegaya, Anurakumara Dissanayake, said today that his party will stand strong against the corrupt regime of the Ranil Rajapaksa camp, given that they have joined forces now to protect their own power.
Ranil Wickremesinghe Rajapaksa පෞගේ දශක ගණනාවක් මේ දේශපාලනයේ අපිට පෙනුනේ ප්‍රතිවිරුද්ධ කඳවුරු හැටියට. හැබැයි අද මොකද වෙලා තිබෙන්නේ? මේ අර්බුදයේ විසින්ම තමන්ගේ බලය පවත්වාගෙන යාම වෙනුවෙන් රනිල්ට මහින්දට එකතු වෙන්න වෙලා තිබෙනවා. මහින්ද රනිල් විතරක් නෙවෙයි. තව නොබෝ දිනකින් සජබේ කණ්ඩායම් පවා එකතු වෙනවා. සතුරා බොරුවට බෙදිලා හිටියා. හැබැයි අද සතුරාගේ බලය ආරක්ෂා කර ගැනීම වෙනුවෙන් ඒගොල්ලෝ එක කඳවුරකට අවිලා තිබෙනවා. එහෙනම් මොකද කරන්න ඕන? අන්නේ දූෂිත විනාශකාරී කඳවුරට එරෙහිව ජාතික ජනබලවේගය අපි ගොඩනගන්න ඕනකම තිබෙනවා.
Now, State Minister of Finance Ranjit Siyamalapitiya reassured today that the government has used every financial tool at their disposal to ensure that they would be able to pay the state sector employees their salaries before the 10th of April. The State Minister went on to say that even though many countries faced with a crisis similar to this nature would have cut down on state sector employees, Sri Lankan authorities had not considered such a move, an option even though it was a burden to the country's reserves at the moment.
රටවල් මෙවැනි තත්ත්වයකට පත් වුනහම එන පළවෙනි යෝජනාව තමයි රාජ්‍ය සේවක වැටුප් කප්පාදුව කියන එක. අපේ රටේ ඒක හිතුවේවත් නැහැ. මොකද අපි දන්නවා රාජ්‍ය සේවකයත් ලොකු අමාරුව කියන මේ උද්දමනය පොලි වැඩි මේවත් එක්ක. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් මාසේ 25 වෙනිදා රාජ්‍ය සේවකයාට ගෙවන වැටුප අපි මේ මාසේ ගෙවන්න ඕන නැත්නම් අප්‍රේල් මාසේ බැලුවොත් 10 වෙනිදාට ඉස්සෙල්ලා සිංහල හින්දු අලුත් අවුරුද්ද වෙනුවෙන්. ඒක අපේ මුදල් ප්‍රවාහ වලට තව සුවිශේෂ බරක්. විශ්‍රාම වැටුපත් අපි ගෙවන්න ඕනේ. ඒ වගේම 10 වෙනිදාට පෙර සමෘද්ධියත් ගෙවන්න ඕනේ. නමුත් මුදල් අමාත්‍යවරයා හැටියට ජනාධිපතිතුමා අපිට දැනුම් දීලා තියෙනවා ඒක ගෙවිය යුතුමයි කියලා. ඒ නිසා අපි ඒ සඳහා අපි සියලුම මූල්‍ය උපක්‍රම පාවිච්චි කරලා නියමිත දිනයට දැන් ගෙවන්න සූදානම්. ඒ වගේම ජනාධිපතිතුමා පැහැදිලිව පහුගිය අයවැය ලේඛනයේ ප්‍රකාශ කළා තිබුණා මේ වර්ෂයේ අවසාන කාර්තුව වෙනකොට රාජ්‍ය සේවකයා වෙනුවෙන් විශේෂ ලබා දිය හැකි දීමනාවන් ලබා දෙනවා කියලා.
And we'll be back with your business news right after this short commercial break.
ගොඩමඩ පෙරලි කරන බලපුළුවන්කාරයා මහින්ද්‍රා යුවෝ ඩීමෝ වෙතින්.
Apico Super Center, Arudu Super Shopper. Amazing 50% discounts. Shop for 7,500 rupees or more with an Apico Privilege card, including 5 nominated brands.
Let's go! Apico Super Center.
අත්දැකීම් බහුලවෙන්ම තාක්ෂණික දැනුමින් සන්නද්ධ පිරිසකගේ සේවය නිරතුරුව. දශක 6කට වඩා වැඩි අත්දැකීම්. තාක්ෂණික නිලධාරීන් 165 දෙනෙකුගේ සේවය. ශ්‍රී ලංකා ඉන්ෂුරන්ස්.
Welcome back. Now, the central bank announced that headline inflation of the country as measured by the Colombo Consumer Price Index would have decreased to 50.3% in March. The CBSL anticipates the country to take the disinflation route through 2023 due to subdued demand conditions owing to tighter monetary and fiscal policy measures, softening of food and energy prices amidst the recent exchange rate appreciation, among other factors. Headline inflation as measured by the year-on-year change in the Colombo Consumer Price Index decreased to 50.3% in March 2023 from 50.6% in February early this year. The decline in headline inflation is broadly in line with the disinflation path envisaged by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka in 2023. The food inflation decreased to 47.6% in March from 54.4% in February, whereas the non-food inflation decreased to 51.7% in March from 48.8% in February. The monthly change of the CCPI recorded at 2.92% in March 2023 due to price increases observed in items of non-food category, which was 3.71%. However, the food category recorded a monthly decline of 0.79%. The core inflation, which reflects the underlying inflation in the economy, decreased to 39.1% in March from 43.6% in February. Based on the available information, the central bank anticipates a declining trend of inflation to continue through 2023. The disinflation path would be supported by subdued demand conditions owing to tight monetary and fiscal policy measures, softening of food and energy prices amidst the recent exchange in rate appreciation and greater pass-through of lower global commodity prices. Further, a second round of impact of recent fuel price revisions and anticipated improvements in domestic supply conditions, along with the favourable statistical base effect, would also contribute to the disinflation process of the country. Now, the UK signed a deal in joining a trade pact with 11 Asian and Pacific nations that will boost UK's exports by cutting tariffs of several goods. This is expected to add 0.08% to the UK's economy in 10 years. The UK has signed a deal to join a trade pact with 11 Asia and Pacific nations 3 years after it officially left the European Union. The UK government stated that joining the group will boost UK exports by cutting tariffs on goods such as cheese, cars, chocolate, machinery, gin and whiskey. However, the government's own estimates show being in the bloc will only add 0.08% to the size of the UK's economy in 10 years. The trade area covers a market of around 500 million people. The Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, which was established in 2018, includes Australia, Brunei, Canada, Chile, Japan, Malaysia, Mexico, New Zealand, Peru, Singapore and Vietnam. Membership of the CPTPP loosens restrictions on trade between members and reduces tariffs, a form of border tax on goods. Together, the 11 members account for about 13% of the world's income, and after 21 months of negotiations, the UK has become the first European country to join. The government highlighted that agreement was the UK's biggest trade deal since Brexit. However, the gains for the UK from joining are expected to be modest. The UK already has free trade deals with all of the members except Brunei and Malaysia, some of which were rolled over from its previous membership of the EU. The Office for the Budget Responsibility, which provides forecasts for the government, has previously said that Brexit would reduce the UK's potential economic growth by about 4% in the long term. Now, strict electric vehicle taxes were unveiled by the US Treasury Department on Friday, removing tax credits on some zero-emission models. The said rules are aimed at influencing the US of dependence on China for electric vehicles' battery supply chains. The US Treasury Department unveiled strict electric vehicle tax rules on Friday that will reduce or remove tax credits on some zero-emission models but grant buyers another 2 weeks before the new requirements take effect. The rules are aimed at weaning the United States of dependence on China for electric vehicle battery supply chains and are part of President Joe Biden's efforts to make 50% of US new vehicle sales by 2030's EVs or plug-in hybrids. The EV battery sourcing guidance issued on Friday triggers new requirements for critical materials and battery components and takes effect from vehicle purchasing starting from the 18th of April. US officials acknowledge some vehicles will see credits cut or eliminated. Tesla said on Wednesday that Model 3 rear-wheel drive credit will be reduced as a result of the guidance. The government will publish a revised list of qualifying models and tax credit amounts by the 18th of April. The $430 billion Inflation Reduction Act signed by Biden in August eliminated manufacturers' EV sale caps but imposed new conditions on electric vehicle credits. They included a North American assembly requirement from August, price and by-income eligibility caps from the 1st of January, and now the battery and critical materials sourcing rules effective from the 18th of April. On Tuesday, the United States and Japan inked a trade deal on electric vehicle battery materials. The Treasury says newly negotiated critical materials agreements can be considered free trade agreements. The public will have until mid-June to comment on the proposed guidance. And that's all the news we have for you this evening. Join us again tomorrow for the very latest news at the very same time. Tune into our social media pages for the very latest. Have a pleasant evening and good night.
For news and information you can trust 24 hours a day, visit AdaDerana.lk.